Have you ever felt that sting, that disheartening realization that sharing your vulnerabilities can, at times, invite not empathy but exploitation? It's a harsh truth, a reality where envy and even sadism can rear their ugly heads, turning your openness into a weapon against you. It's not a universal experience, of course, but the existence of such individuals, those who derive pleasure from the suffering of others, can create a profound reluctance to show our true selves. This reticence, this need to carefully guard our weaknesses, isn't about becoming cold or unfeeling, it's about self-preservation, a necessary shield against those who would seek to diminish us. Such experiences, whether in the professional arena, within the complex dynamics of friendships, or even within the family unit, can profoundly shape our approach to the world. But the key, the path to true empowerment, lies not in shutting down completely, but in cultivating an inner resilience, a silent strength that allows us to navigate these treacherous waters without losing our authenticity. Imagine, if you will, that lone tree from the beginning, buffeted by gale-force winds. Its leaves may tremble, its branches may sway dramatically, but its trunk remains steadfast, firmly anchored to the earth. This is the essence of the resilience we're striving for, a quiet, unwavering fortitude in the face of chaos, a refusal to be uprooted by the negativity of others. But how do we achieve this kind of inner strength? Where do we find the tools to build such a formidable defense? The answer, surprisingly, lies in the wisdom of the past, specifically in the timeless principles of Stoicism, and more specifically in the teachings of Epictetus, a philosopher whose insights remain remarkably relevant even in our modern, hyper-connected world. He offers a practical roadmap for cultivating a strong inner self, a shield against the slings and arrows of fortune, and a path to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. We're not advocating for emotional suppression, but rather for a strategic approach to vulnerability, a conscious choice to reveal our inner selves only to those who have earned our trust and proven their empathy. This isn't about building walls, but about discerning who deserves access to the inner sanctum. And that begins with understanding the first principle: listen twice as much as you speak. Have you ever stopped to consider the seemingly simple fact that nature endowed us with 2 ears and only 1 mouth? It's not merely an anatomical quirk, according to Epictetus, it's a deliberate design, a profound suggestion about the balance of communication. It's not, as he understood it, about indulging in the echo of our own voice, endlessly rehashing our thoughts and opinions. Instead, it's an invitation to actively engage with the voices of others, to truly listen, and to learn from the diverse perspectives that surround us. Visual focuses on the speaker, then back to the listener, emphasizing the importance of nonverbal cues and understanding. We expand our understanding of the world, challenge our preconceived notions, and foster deeper connections by prioritizing listening over speaking. Consider the implications in your own life. How often do you find yourself waiting for your turn to speak, formulating your response while the other person is still talking? How often do you truly absorb the nuances of what's being said, or do you simply hear the words without grasping the underlying meaning? Epictetus implores us to break free from this pattern, to consciously shift our focus from self-expression to active listening. Start today, he would urge, by making a conscious effort to prioritize the voices around you. Focus on understanding their perspectives, their motivations, their fears, and their hopes. Resist the urge to interrupt, to interject your own opinions, or to steer the conversation back to yourself. Instead, embrace the opportunity to learn and grow through the experiences of others. This seemingly simple act of prioritizing listening can have a profound impact on your relationships, your career, and your personal development. It fosters empathy, builds trust, and opens doors to new ideas and opportunities. It's a powerful tool for self-improvement, a constant source of learning, and a foundation for building a stronger, more resilient self. But listening, while crucial, is only the first step. To truly cultivate inner strength, we must also confront our fears and anxieties. And that leads us to Epictetus's second principle: always expect the worst. One of the most pervasive sources of anxiety and stress in our lives stems from our constant preoccupation with potential future misfortunes. We worry about our children's academic performance, the security of our jobs, the stability of our relationships, and a myriad of other potential threats that loom on the horizon. It often feels like a relentless barrage of worries, each one chipping away at our peace of mind, leaving us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. It's important to acknowledge that life is not devoid of hardship. Challenges and problems are an inevitable part of the human experience. But it's equally important to recognize that life is also filled with joy, beauty, and moments of profound happiness. It's a complex tapestry of experiences, a mixture of both positive and negative events. Now, here's where Epictetus offers a rather counterintuitive piece of wisdom. Instead of constantly trying to avoid thinking about the bad things that could happen, he suggests that we actively imagine them, that we mentally rehearse these potential catastrophes. This might sound like a recipe for even greater anxiety, but the underlying purpose is to develop coping strategies, to confront our fears head-on, and to rob them of their power to paralyze us. By mentally preparing for the worst, we diminish its ability to shock and overwhelm us. We give ourselves time to consider potential solutions, to develop a plan of action, and to cultivate a sense of control over our own destiny. Think about it. When you're caught off guard by a sudden crisis, your reaction is often driven by panic and fear. But when you've already considered the possibility, when you've already imagined yourself navigating the situation, you're far more likely to respond with calm, clarity, and resilience. So, the next time you find yourself spiraling into a vortex of worry about the future, take a step back and remember Epictetus's advice. Instead of trying to suppress your fears, acknowledge them, confront them, and mentally prepare yourself to handle them. Remind yourself that you've faced tough times before, that you possess the inner strength to overcome adversity, and that you have the resources and skills to navigate whatever challenges may come your way. Visual returns to the lone tree, now even stronger and more resilient after withstanding the storm. Keep your head held high, maintain a positive attitude, and refuse to let fear hold you back from living your life to the fullest. But preparation is not enough, action is needed. We live in a society that often equates success with perfection, where mistakes are seen as failures and imperfection is something to be avoided at all costs. This fear of failure can be incredibly debilitating, preventing us from taking risks, pursuing our passions, and reaching our full potential. We often find ourselves paralyzed by the thought of what others might think if we stumble, if we fall short of expectations, if we're perceived as foolish. But Epictetus challenges this notion, offering a radically different perspective on the role of failure in our lives. According to him, being considered foolish can be one of the greatest things that can happen to us. It's through making mistakes, through embracing our imperfections, that we learn, grow, and ultimately improve both in our professional and personal lives. Epictetus reminds us that true mastery is not about avoiding mistakes altogether, but about viewing them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. It's about embracing a journey of trial and error, of experimentation and refinement, of constantly pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones. Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle. They inevitably stumble, they fall, they scrape their knees. But each time they get back up, they learn something new, they refine their technique, and they get one step closer to mastering the skill. The same principle applies to all aspects of life. Whether you're learning a new language, starting a new business, or pursuing a creative passion, you will inevitably encounter obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But it's how you respond to these challenges that will ultimately determine your success. Don't be afraid to be seen as foolish, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Embrace the learning process, learn from your failures, and keep pushing forward. Remember, every mistake is a stepping stone on the path to greatness. It's about embracing the journey, not just focusing on the destination. However, chasing riches may not be the only way forward. The allure of wealth is undeniable. Our society often equates material possessions with happiness and success. We are bombarded with images of luxury, extravagance, and the good life, leading us to believe that acquiring wealth is the ultimate goal. But Epictetus cautions us to be aware of the potential dangers that often accompany the pursuit of wealth. The desire for wealth can be all-consuming, distracting us from what truly matters in life. It can lead to a relentless pursuit of material possessions, a constant striving for more, and a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction. It can also attract unwanted attention, as people may try to befriend us for our money or take advantage of our generosity. But the most insidious danger of wealth is its potential to corrupt our character. Once we acquire wealth, something can change inside us. We may discover aspects of ourselves that we never knew existed, and these aspects may not always be positive. We may become more materialistic, more arrogant, more insensitive to the needs of others. We may lose touch with our values, compromise our morals, and sacrifice our integrity in the pursuit of even greater wealth. It's like our spirit begins to poison itself, slowly eroding our sense of empathy, compassion, and genuine connection with others. Epictetus reminds us that true wealth lies not in the accumulation of material possessions, but in the cultivation of inner virtue. It's about living a life of purpose, meaning, and integrity, and about using our resources to make a positive impact on the world. It's about focusing on what truly matters, our relationships, our values, our personal growth, and our contribution to society. So, be aware of the dangers of fortune, and don't let the pursuit of wealth corrupt your character. Focus on cultivating inner virtue, and remember that true wealth lies in living a life of purpose, meaning, and integrity. But if you put all your eggs in one basket, you might be left with nothing. Humans are naturally curious creatures, with a deep-seated desire to explore, to experiment, and to discover new possibilities. This innate curiosity is what drives innovation, creativity, and personal growth. It's what motivates us to try new things, to challenge the status quo, and to push the boundaries of what's possible. But sometimes, we can become fixated on a single dream, a single goal, a single path in life. We pour all our energy, all our resources, and all our hopes into this one endeavor, neglecting other opportunities and possibilities along the way. Epictetus warns us against this kind of narrow-mindedness. He encourages us to cultivate multiple dreams, to pursue a variety of interests, and to explore different paths in life. By diversifying our goals, we increase our chances of success and reduce our risk of disappointment. If one dream doesn't come true, we have other options to fall back on. We're not left feeling lost, disillusioned, or without purpose. But more importantly, pursuing multiple dreams allows us to tap into our full potential, to develop a wider range of skills, and to experience a richer, more fulfilling life. It allows us to discover hidden talents, unexpected passions, and new perspectives that we might never have encountered if we had remained focused on a single path. So, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Explore different dreams, pursue multiple interests, and see where they take you. You might be surprised at what you discover. Don't be afraid to branch out and try new things. And lastly, death is inevitable for all of us. Death is a universal truth, an inevitable part of the human experience. It's something that we all must face eventually, regardless of our age, our wealth, or our status in life. But instead of dwelling on the morbid aspects of death, Epictetus encourages us to use the awareness of our mortality as a source of motivation and inspiration. He argues that understanding the finite nature of our existence can help us to prioritize what truly matters, to make the most of our time, and to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Think about it, if you knew that you only had a limited amount of time left to live, how would you spend your days? What would you prioritize? What would you regret not doing? Would you still spend your time chasing after material possessions, worrying about what others think, or engaging in activities that don't truly bring you joy? Or would you focus on spending time with loved ones, pursuing your passions, and making a positive impact on the world? Epictetus suggests that we should live each day as if it were our last, not in a reckless or hedonistic way, but with intention, purpose, and gratitude. We should appreciate the simple pleasures of life, cherish our relationships, and strive to make a difference in the world. We should also be mindful of our actions, ensuring that we are living in accordance with our values and making the most of the time we have been given. So, remember that death is waiting at the end of the road, and use this knowledge to motivate you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Embrace each day with gratitude, purpose, and intention, and make the most of the time you have been given. True wealth can also lead to contentment. In a world that often equates happiness with material possessions and external validation, Epictetus offers a refreshing perspective on what truly constitutes a fulfilling life. He argues that true wealth lies not in the abundance of what we possess, but in the contentment of our spirit. A wise person, according to Epictetus, is not someone who is upset about what they don't have, but someone who is grateful for what they do have. This simple yet profound statement challenges the prevailing notion that happiness is dependent on external factors. It suggests that we have the power to cultivate our own happiness, regardless of our circumstances. By shifting our focus from what we lack to what we possess, we can transform our perspective and cultivate a sense of gratitude for the blessings in our lives. When we spend our time complaining and wishing for more, we miss out on the moments of happiness that are already present in our lives. We fail to appreciate the simple pleasures, the meaningful relationships, and the opportunities for growth that surround us. Epictetus encourages us to take a moment each day to reflect on the things we are grateful for. This could be as simple as appreciating the beauty of nature, the warmth of a loving embrace, or the satisfaction of completing a challenging task. By consciously focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we can cultivate a sense of contentment that transcends our material circumstances. True wealth, according to Epictetus, is not about accumulating more possessions, but about cultivating a contented spirit. It's about appreciating what we have, finding joy in the simple things, and living a life of purpose, meaning, and gratitude. And finally, it is important to practice humility. The pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey, a continuous process of learning, growing, and expanding our understanding of the world. But sometimes, we can become complacent, believing that we already know everything there is to know. We become resistant to new ideas, dismissive of alternative perspectives, and closed off to the possibility of learning from others. Epictetus reminds us that true wisdom comes from recognizing the limits of our own knowledge. It's about acknowledging that there is always more to learn, even about things we think we already know. He encourages us to approach the world with humility, to be open to new ideas, and to be willing to learn from anyone, regardless of their age, background, or expertise. When we go through life boasting about how much we know, we actually push ourselves further away from real knowledge. We create barriers to learning, become defensive of our own opinions, and close ourselves off to the possibility of new insights. True wisdom comes from admitting that we don't know everything, and being open to learning new things. It's like seeing the world through the eyes of a child, full of wonder and curiosity. A child approaches the world with a sense of openness, asking questions, exploring new possibilities, and absorbing information without judgment. Epictetus encourages us to embrace this same spirit of humility in our quest for knowledge. By acknowledging our ignorance, we open ourselves up to genuine learning experiences and new perspectives. We become more receptive to feedback, more willing to challenge our own assumptions, and more capable of adapting to new information. So, let's embrace humility in our quest for knowledge, by acknowledging our ignorance, remaining open to new ideas, and being willing to learn from anyone. But what about those nagging feelings of guilt? Guilt is a complex emotion that can have a profound impact on our well-being. It arises when we believe that we have done something wrong, violated our own moral code, or caused harm to others. Some people tend to blame others when things go wrong, deflecting responsibility and avoiding accountability. Others internalize their guilt, blaming themselves excessively and dwelling on their perceived shortcomings. But Epictetus challenges both of these approaches, arguing that all guilt is foolish. He doesn't suggest that we should deny our mistakes or avoid taking responsibility for our actions. Rather, he encourages us to view guilt as an unproductive emotion that prevents us from learning and growing. When we are consumed by guilt, we become fixated on the past, replaying our mistakes and dwelling on our regrets. We are unable to move forward, to learn from our experiences, and to make amends for our wrongdoings. Instead, Epictetus advocates for a more rational and constructive approach to dealing with our mistakes. He encourages us to acknowledge our errors, to take responsibility for our actions, and to make amends to those we have harmed. But he also urges us to forgive ourselves, to learn from our mistakes, and to move forward with a renewed commitment to living in accordance with our values. The key to overcoming guilt, according to Epictetus, is to refuse to let it control us. We must recognize that guilt is a choice, a way of thinking that we can challenge and overcome. By focusing on the present moment, learning from our mistakes, and committing to living a life of purpose and integrity, we can break free from the trap of guilt and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Surrounding yourself with positive and inspiring people will also help you to improve. We are all social beings, influenced by the people we surround ourselves with. The company we keep can have a profound impact on our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, and our overall well-being. We've all experienced that feeling of dread when someone sneezes nearby, fearing the onset of a contagious illness. But Epictetus draws our attention to a different kind of contagion, a more subtle but equally powerful influence that shapes our lives every day, the contagiousness of behavior and attitudes. He suggests that we should be as cautious about the people we surround ourselves with as we are about germs and viruses. We should actively seek out people who inspire us to be our best selves, who uplift us, who challenge us to grow, and who support us in our goals. Conversely, we should avoid people who drain our energy, who bring us down, who discourage us from pursuing our dreams, and who perpetuate negativity. These people can have a toxic effect on our well-being, undermining our confidence, eroding our motivation, and hindering our progress. Epictetus encourages us to be mindful of the company we keep, and to make conscious choices about who we allow into our lives. He suggests that we should surround ourselves with people who share our values, who support our goals, and who inspire us to be our best selves. By choosing our friends and companions wisely, we can create a positive and supportive environment that fosters growth, resilience, and well-being. But you can't always control your environment. We often have the illusion that we are in control of our lives, that we can dictate our circumstances and shape our destiny according to our will. But the reality is that life is full of unexpected events, unforeseen challenges, and circumstances beyond our control. We can't control the weather, the economy, or the actions of others. We can't prevent illness, loss, or disappointment. But what we can control is our reactions to these events. We can choose how we respond to adversity, how we interpret our experiences, and how we allow our circumstances to affect our well-being. Epictetus emphasizes the importance of understanding this distinction, of recognizing the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. He teaches us that true freedom lies not in controlling our external circumstances, but in controlling our internal reactions. We shouldn't underestimate our reactions because they are what define whether we succeed or fail. He taught us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. Misfortunes can happen to anyone, but what sets us apart is how we handle them. For some, a divorce might lead to feelings of sadness and defeat, but for Epictetus, it's a chance to embark on a journey of self-discovery. It's important to remember that life isn't just about what happens to us, but about how we choose to deal with those events. This principle is even more simple. Each of us has a role to play in society, a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of our communities and the betterment of the world. This sense of duty arises from our interconnectedness, from the understanding that we are all part of a larger whole and that our actions have consequences that extend beyond ourselves. The sun rises every morning, faithfully fulfilling its duty without seeking praise or recognition. Similarly, each of us has responsibilities to fulfill, whether it's our duties to our families, our communities, our employers, or our fellow citizens. Epictetus emphasizes the importance of recognizing these duties and fulfilling them with diligence, integrity, and a sense of purpose. He argues that true fulfillment comes not from seeking personal gain or external validation, but from contributing to something larger than ourselves, from making a positive impact on the world. This is the importance of fulfilling your duty. The importance of not hating those who hate you is also another virtue. Hatred is a destructive emotion that consumes the hater more than the hated. It breeds bitterness, resentment, and a desire for revenge, poisoning the mind and clouding judgment. It prevents us from seeing the humanity in others, from understanding their perspectives, and from finding common ground. Epictetus advises us to resist the urge to hate those who hate us, to rise above their negativity, and to refuse to let their actions affect our inner peace. He reminds us that we are much bigger and better than the person criticizing, despising, or discriminating against us. Their negativity is a reflection of their own insecurities and limitations, not a reflection of our worth. Instead of wasting our valuable time hating them, we should simply ignore them, refusing to give them a place in our thoughts or our emotions. We should focus on our own goals, our own values, and our own well-being, and refuse to let the negativity of others derail us from our path. This path ultimately brings simplicity. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with messages that equate happiness with material possessions, luxury experiences, and external validation. We are encouraged to accumulate more, to consume more, and to strive for ever greater levels of wealth and status. But Epictetus challenges this notion, arguing that true happiness lies not in the abundance of what we possess, but in the simplicity of our lives. He suggests that we should embrace frugality, not as a form of deprivation, but as a path to freedom and contentment. When we live a simple life, we are less dependent on material possessions, less concerned about what others think, and less stressed about keeping up with the Joneses. We have more time, more energy, and more freedom to pursue our passions, to cultivate meaningful relationships, and to contribute to something larger than ourselves. Epictetus reminds us that having wealth doesn't take care of itself. It needs constant attention and a ton of energy to keep up with all those luxuries and riches. But when we go for a simple life, we don't have to stress about paying bills, loans, and credit cards on time. Living a simple life requires conscious choices, to declutter our homes, to reduce our consumption, to prioritize experiences over possessions, and to focus on what truly matters in life. It's about living with intention, purpose, and gratitude, and about finding joy in the simple pleasures that life has to offer. Ultimately, this is about control. Our emotions can be powerful forces, capable of shaping our thoughts, influencing our behaviors, and impacting our overall well-being. When we allow our emotions to control us, we become reactive, impulsive, and vulnerable to external influences. We can be easily manipulated by others, swayed by our own biases, and prone to making irrational decisions. Epictetus emphasizes the importance of gaining control over our emotions, of learning to manage our reactions, and of cultivating a sense of inner peace. When someone's words or actions start to bother you, it's like giving them the remote control of your life. They can push your buttons and make you feel angry or upset, but only if you let them. He teaches us that we all have different buttons inside us. Some lead to happiness, while others lead straight to feeling bad. When we let others make us angry, it's like handing over the keys to that unhappy place. He advises us to build a barrier that stops their negativity from getting to you. Remember, you're in charge of what you say and what you let in from others. This also means friendships are more important than wealth. In a world that often prioritizes material success and financial gain, it's easy to lose sight of the true value of friendship. We may become so focused on our careers, our possessions, and our social status that we neglect the relationships that truly matter. Epictetus reminds us that friendship is more important than money, that real wealth lies in having true friends who will stand by us even if we lose all our money someday. He encourages us to prioritize building and nurturing genuine friendships, to invest our time and energy in cultivating meaningful connections, and to cherish the bonds that sustain us through the ups and downs of life. A true friend is someone who accepts us for who we are, flaws and all. Someone who listens without judgment, offers support without condition, and celebrates our successes as if they were their own. A true friend is someone who will tell us the truth, even when it's difficult to hear, and who will challenge us to grow and become better versions of ourselves. Think of it as a smart investment for the long run. True friends are a source of comfort, joy, and strength, providing us with a sense of belonging, purpose, and meaning in life. Life is full of unexpected events, both positive and negative. We encounter challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, as well as moments of joy, success, and fulfillment. How we respond to these events ultimately shapes our experience and determines our overall well-being. Epictetus encourages us to adopt a proactive and positive mindset, to always extract the benefit from things, no matter what happens. These were the wise words of Epictetus. You see, it's not just about having the option to find something good in a tough situation, but it's also our responsibility to do so. As long as you have some smarts, you'll always have the ability to see the silver lining even in the darkest clouds. He argues that even in the most difficult circumstances, there is always something to be learned, something to be gained, and something to be grateful for. Let's say, for example, you go to work one day and find out you're going to be let go. Instead of feeling down and blaming the universe, you could see it as a chance to pursue that business idea you've always had in mind. You might even find joy in exploring new opportunities, even if it means working alongside people you're not too fond of. So always try to see the bright side of things. Trust me, this positive mindset will really take you far in life, much further than just dwelling on the negatives. This is a huge part of Stoicism and controlling your mindset. We spend so much time worrying about things that are beyond our control, the opinions of others, the state of the economy, the weather, the past. These worries consume our energy, distract us from what truly matters, and prevent us from living fully in the present moment. Epictetus encourages us to stop worrying about what is out of our control, to release our attachment to outcomes, and to focus our energy on what we can influence, our thoughts, our actions, and our intentions. You have power over your thoughts, not your reputation. While you're eager to achieve, you can't always dictate your wealth or success. So stressing over things beyond your grasp is just wasting your time. According to Epictetus, we should focus on shaping the things we can alter, yet it's equally crucial to release the grip on what we can't control and let destiny run its course. Stoic principles aren't just handy for everyday life, they're like a guidebook helping us maneuver through tough times with resilience and curiosity. These teachings aren't about daydreaming, they're about putting knowledge into action and pressing onward. In conclusion, adopting the mindset of acting as if nothing bothers you can be incredibly powerful in navigating life's challenges. Inspired by the teachings of Epictetus and Stoicism, this approach encourages us to remain resilient in the face of adversity. By practicing this philosophy, we learn to control our reactions to external and internal struggles, empowering ourselves to maintain a sense of calm and strength amidst chaos. Instead of allowing ourselves to be overwhelmed by life's ups and downs, we can choose to stand firm, like a tree in a storm, rooted in our resilience. Embracing this mindset doesn't mean denying the existence of challenges or pretending that everything is perfect, rather, it's about acknowledging difficulties while refusing to let them dictate our emotional state or define our sense of self-worth. Ultimately, by mastering the art of acting as if nothing bothers us, we unlock the power to shape our own destinies, cultivate inner peace, and live with a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment.